Would you like to learn how to make any chord in any key quickly and without the help of MIDI note effects? Then stick around because I'm going to help you well on your way to becoming a chord master in less time than it takes to roast a small chicken. Hello and welcome back to another episode of TACHES Teaches. I'm Tash, and for the first 7 years of my career, I proudly told anyone who would listen about how very cool I was for not knowing anything about theory. The software does it all for me, I would say. I don't even know how to make a C major chord. People who know music theory are boring, and they overanalyze everything, and they're not true artists like me. Like a drunk with a wine glass in hand, unable to admit that they may have a problem, I too was an addict. But instead of alcohol, I was addicted to ignorance, and I was actually proud of being too lazy to do anything about it. If you weren't pressured into playing the piano by your parents as a whippersnapper, I'm sure a lot of you may be able to relate. For some reason, unbeknownst to me, I used to hit these occasional roadblocks with my music, where I felt that something was missing in my life, but I had no clue what it was or how to fix it. That all changed when I attended legendary bassist Victor Wooten's Spirit of Music camp in the humid and tick-filled forests of Tennessee, where I got a taste of how easy and actually quite enjoyable it can be to have some idea of what you're doing. Once theory became a friend rather than a foreign enemy, writing music became, to my surprise, actually far more fun. So without further ado, let's jump right in. The method I'm going to be using to teach you today will use a concept I like to simply call gaps, although in the hoity-toity world of real music theorists, they're called intervals. The only thing that makes a chord the chord that it is the relationship of the gaps or intervals between the notes. In their most basic form, i.e. not inverted, any major chord will look exactly the same as any other major chord, only the lowest note or the root will be moved either up or down the piano roll. The most basic type of chord is a triad, which features an expected amount of 3 notes, the root, the third, and the fifth. The only thing that's different between a major and a minor chord with the same root is the relationship of the gaps between the notes. Let's start by quickly mapping out how to make a major or a minor triad from any note. If we wanted to make an F major chord, we draw in the root, or F. We then leave 1, 2, 3 gaps and draw in a note. We then leave 1, 2 and draw in a note, and congratulations, you have an F major. If we wanted to make a minor chord, all we have to do is reverse the order of the gaps. We leave 1, 2 and draw in a note. We leave 1, 2, 3 and draw in a note. Et voila, an F minor. So, let's extrapolate this information into a nice little formula we can remember and apply. We can now say that a major chord is a 3-2, while a minor chord is a 2-3. Let's try this somewhere else and try and make a D-sharp major chord. We draw in the D sharp, we leave 1, 2, 3 gaps, 1, 2, we have a D sharp major chord. Let's now make a G sharp minor. 1, 2, draw in a note, 1, 2, 3, a G sharp minor. Sometimes, however, triads alone just aren't enough to express the emotion we'd like to put into our music. Enter the concept of sevenths, ninths, 11ths and 13ths, commonly called extensions. For now, though, I'm going to leave the 11ths and 13ths aside and show you how to create the more commonly used extensions of sevenths and ninths on major and minor chords. Let's draw in a C major chord, so we have a C and 3 gaps, 2 gaps, the C major chord. In order to create a 7th, we just add another one of the first gaps, so a C major is a 3-2, a C major 7 is a 3-2-3. 1, 2, 3, draw note. 1, 2, draw note. 1, 2, 3, draw note. 3, 2, 3, and we have a C major 7. If I were to draw a G, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, a G major 7. The minor 7th works exactly the same, but the other way round. If we were to make a C minor chord here, we have a C, 2 gaps, 1, 2, 3, the C minor. 2, 3, and 1 and 2, we have a C minor 7. So in the same way as we came up with a little formula for making major and minor triads, in order to make a major 7th, we do a 3, 2, 3, and in order to make a minor 7th, we do a 2, 3, 2. Neat. Cool. So now we know how to make a major and a minor triad and a major and a minor seventh. In order to make a ninth, we just follow on with the pattern. Let's draw in a C major again here. Let's add the seventh, so 3, 2, 3. In order to add a ninth, we just do 2 more, 1, 2. The C major 9 is a 3, 2, 3, 2. In order to do a minor ninth, we do 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, C minor 7, sorry, and now we do 1, 2, 3 again. The minor 9 chord. So in the same way that we had the previous formulas, in order to make a major ninth, we do a 3, 2, 3, 2. And in order to make a minor ninth, we do a 2, 3, 2, 3. Again, super neat. Brilliant. So now we know how to make major and minor triads, sevenths and ninths. So it's probably a good idea to bring up inversions. If I draw in a regular C major chord here, we have C, E, G. But if I move that C up an octave, now we have E, G, C, which is still a C major in its next inversion. If I put the E up an octave again, we have G, C, E, which again still is a C major. And if we put that G up one more octave, now we're back to the same C, E, G, but an octave above. This works really well with sevenths and ninths as well, where let's make a C major 7 here. So we have 3, 2, and 3. A C major 7. If I invert this B, this seventh, down an octave, look where it goes. There's no gap between the root note and the seventh below it, which means that if I draw a major chord anywhere, in order for me to add a seventh to that, all I have to do is add a note just below the root. Now we have an F sharp major 7. If I want to do the same thing with a ninth, all I have to do is add 3, 2, 3, 2. Let's remove the seventh for now. Look where the ninth goes when it's down an octave. That's still a C major add 9. If we have the seventh in there, it's what's called a C major 9, but because there is no seventh, it's just an add 9. So if I want to make very quickly this C major have a ninth in it, I just add one gap and then draw a note. Very cool. So let's try that somewhere else as well. Let's go for a G sharp major ninth. So we'll do a G sharp major, and let's quickly add a 7 and a 9. So we just know to go seventh is no gap below, and the ninth is one gap above. A G sharp major 9. Oh, so rich and full. So how does this work then for the minor nines? So let's add a C minor. And if we then do 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, we now have a C major 9. If I take the seventh down an octave, we have one gap below the root and the ninth. And if I take the ninth down an octave, we have one gap as well. So with a minor chord, all I need to do is add a note with one gap above and one gap below, and we have a C major 9. Let's try that on another note. Let's go for an F sharp minor. And let's quickly add a seventh and a ninth. So we have the F sharp minor. Let's add one gap above, one gap below. We have an F sharp minor 9. Oh, so rich and full. Okay, so we know how to make a major and a minor triad, a major and a minor seventh, a ninth, and we can now do inversions to create a bit more emotion with our regular chords. Now I want to talk about something called a rootless voicing. What is a voicing? Well, a voicing is how you choose to lay out the notes of a chord. If we have a C major chord, a voicing is, in many ways, the inversion that you're using. So I could, in many ways, then put the E up 2 octaves and the G down 2 octaves, and now we have this huge, huge wide spread of a C major chord. Sounds so weird, doesn't it? Okay, let's go back to that regular C major chord. And let's add the seventh, or in fact, let's just do it like this. Let's add the seventh there and the ninth there. We have a C major 9. I'm just going to add in sort of something in the bass. So let's add a polygrid, and I'll just put an arpeggiator on it, just so we can get a bit of rhythmic C in there. So let's just slap now a C in the bass. I'll put that down an octave. Okay, cool. So what we have now is a C in the bass with a C major 9 happening on the piano. Because I have a C in the bass, the C is telling us that this is a C major 9, this means I can now remove from the chord the actual root. So I'm just going to deactivate that for now. And even if I have these up in their inversion, you can see that the C is now unnecessary in the piano because of it being in the bass. Whereas if I take the bass out, it doesn't have quite the same rooted in C feeling. Actually, that becomes 2-3-2. You might now have guessed it, that it becomes an E minor 7 chord. But because I have the C in the bass, that now becomes a C major 9 chord. Absolutely fascinating. So how does this work then for a minor chord? Why don't we then make a C minor 9, so 2, 3, 2, and 3. I can now remove the C from the bass there, and I have a C minor 9. Let's invert the 9th down and the 7th down. Oh, how jazzy and cool does that sound? Okay, rootless voicings are incredible because it means that you can come up with a chord progression, add your colours, add your extra notes and stuff, and then add in the bass the roots of those notes, remove them from the chords, and you have a lot more space, a lot more openness, a lot more of a feeling of expertise in your chord making. So let's quickly recap. In order to make a major triad, we have a gap of 3 and 2. 3 and 2 gives us a major chord. In order to make a minor chord, we have a gap of 2 and 3, minor chord. In order to make a major 7th, we have a gap of 3 and 2, and another 3 on top, major 7th chord. In order to make a minor 7th chord, we have a gap of 2, 3, and 2, minor 7th. In order to make a major 9th chord, we have a gap of 3, 2, 3, and 2, major 9. In order to make a minor 9 chord, we have 2, 3, 2, and 3, minor 9. I'm going to put the numbers down in the description because it's something that you can just internalize, and very quickly you can add a lot more color and depth to your chords just by remembering a simple number pattern. And obviously, now that we've learned about the inversions as well, sometimes this 2-3-2-3 won't actually be the best sound for it, but it will allow you to draw in the note and then invert it into a way that feels fitting. Oh, listen to that. That's absolutely brilliant.
Well, I'm sorry to say that once again we've reached the end of the day's teachings, but I do hope that this video has been useful and perhaps even made you a little less afraid of the oft-dreaded concept of theory. If you enjoyed my ramblings, then please do like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and send me half of your monthly paycheck. As always, happy Thursday and happy creating!